Greetings, it's Iain from RDO here. But firstly though, I'd like to wish everybody a happy new year on the behalf of myself, Dave and Rocky. And we're going to kick off 2024 with a viewer's request of an obscure heavy metal band from Holland called Bodine. They were active between 1978 and 1984. Released only 3 albums in that time. Their first singer, Jay Van Vegeleen, also performed as the Barbarian in an album called Into the Electric Castle by a band called Orion. And the creator of Orion was Arjen Anthony Lucassen, which is a member of Bodine. He tried to become the singer, but he ended up being a guitarist. As I said, the band is inactive, but in 2012, Jay Van Vleegen joined the Southside Blues Review as lead singer under the alias of Jay Bodine, which is a clear reference to the Bodine past. So, let's have a look at these 3 albums. Now, I haven't got any of these. I found all these on YouTube. I mean, I've heard of the band, but I hadn't heard anything. So this was a new experience for me. So, coming in at number 3, this is the second album from them, and it came out in 1982, and it's called Bald as Brass. So on here, now you must excuse the these are Dutch names, so we'll struggle through. So it's Gerald Heidsma on drums, Reno Zeros on guitars, Iain Anthony on guitars, which is Anthony Lucassen, and we've got Alex Joseph Longmire on vocals and Ahmed van der Hof on the bass. So the first track on this album is called Rock Machine. What a great title. It's really some great heavy metal riffs. But guess what lets it down? The drums. Yeah, the production on the drums just is a little bit weak. Then we get a track called Heavy Rain. Yeah, we're getting a lot of that round here at the moment. Boogie metal, I'd call this. It's a great vocal. Pretty good track. Then we have a track called Aragon. Now, Aragon is a very commercial sound. Smooth. Trying to get a name for themselves. It just didn't work for me, this track. It just lacks heavy metal. It's more like plinky plonk metal. Then we have a track called Heavy Metal Heart, which is my second favourite track on the album. I like this. It's sort of got that heavy metal feel, some great riffs, a thundering bass line, just what you need. Okay, then we have a track called Wildfire Queen. Good track. Production though, really, you've heard of when you move a house and you sort of go from a big house to a little house and you sort of move down. This is what this is. This is taking a great song and then putting 80s spin on it, and it just didn't sound right. Then we get a thing called Pumping Iron. Sorry, I do like these sort of tracks, and then they put the bad production on it. You just imagine these take away all that horrible 80s production and just letting it rip. It would have been a better track. Then we have Breaking Out. Bit generic rock, plastic, smooth, overproduced guitar sounds. Then my favourite track on here, and it's a great track title called Regular Rocker. They let the drummer have a bit of free hand here, because his drumming on this is absolutely great from Gerard Heidsma. Best track on the album. The guitars are good. It's just let loose and go for it. I think with this album, there's some really strong tracks on it. But what lets it down again, it's that same old chestnut, the production. Let's go commercial. Let's try and break America. It just isn't. I never liked 80s rock. My feelings on it. But there are some good tracks on here. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 6 out of 10. Okay, their number 2 is from 1981, and it's their debut album called just Bodine. Gerald Heitzma is on the drums, Reno Zeros on guitars, Ahmad van der Hoff on bass, and Jay Van Fergelen on the vocals. Track 1 on this one is called Rock Rosetta. The opening riffs of this are brilliant. It's just good old-fashioned European metal, driving riffs, and Jay's notes, holding them notes, is brilliant. It's a really strong track. Do like that one. Then we get a track called A Back Street Crawler. The bass line here from Ahmad van der Hoff really is very sultry, gives it some atmosphere. Bit like that. Some of the sound is very that Frank Marino, Mahogany Rush sort of sound on the guitars. It's a really good track. Then we get a track called Freight Train. This has probably got one of the best guitar solos on the album. Absolutely dynamite. Great track. Gonna Get Back. Good little rock track here. I love the drums on this again. Let loose, raw, plug in and go music. Absolutely killer track. Then we get my favourite one on here, and it's called You Didn't Give Me Love. Dominated by another great bass line with another amazing guitar solo that from Reno. Absolutely got all them traits of heavy metal. Short little spikes, and that's an absolutely killer track. I do like that one. Then we have a track called On the Lookout. Very 70s sounding rock track. Great, I do like it. Then we have New York City Streets. Bluesy heavy metal, I'd call this. The drumming on this is absolutely brilliant again. And then we get a track called Oh Wee Baby, as in we, the Scottish for small. Solid track. I love the middle of this. This has got some nice gentle guitar and drums, and then it comes back with a vengeance. Foggy Fantasy. It's a combination of heavy metal and blues again here. One of my favourite tracks on here. You don't expect heavy metal and blues to sort of blend, but they do, and they do it really well. Then we have Shooting Dice. Great riffs, great vocal from Jay, screaming away, proper headbanging stuff. That one is great track. What you get with this album is some heavy metal with a bit of blues and boogie rock thrown in for good measures. It's a really good album, and I am on the hunt for this one. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8 out of 10. But my number one album, and it's the one that I kept going back to when I was putting this together, is their last album that came out in 1983. And it's called 3 Times Running. So it's Gerald Heitzma on the drums, Ian Anthony Lucassen on guitars, Reno Zeros on guitars, Axel Joseph Langmeyer, and Ahmad van Hoof on the bass. First track on this one, called Shout. It's got that rolling sort of drums on it. I like rolling drum beats. It's got a bit of a gallop, and the bass sort of enhances that as well. Great track. Then we get Battlefield. Now, of all the tracks I've heard by Bodine, I think this is the best one ever. It's a boogie sort of sound, It's got great guitar work here. The two guitarists working so well together. Absolutely killer track. Then we get Black Star Rising. This is more heavy rock, hard rock. I love the vocal from Axl on this. It's just a good old-fashioned track. Considering it was 1983, there's none of that horrible production on it. Then we have this amazing instrumental called Below the Belt. It's gutsy, the riffs are good, the bass is good. I like how each member of this band, the musicians, had their 5 minutes of glory showing off their skills. Really good track. Then we get The Force, one of the slower tracks on here. Between the nice gentle stuff, you get this chunky riff that sort of keeps fading in and out. Good solid track. Hard Times, I think this is Axl's best vocal on this album. It's just hard and heavy. Rampage, good heavy metal. It's got all them traits you like, the great drumming, the little licks on the guitars, an absolute brilliant guitar solo, great vocal, awesome track. Free Kick is next, the last track. It's another instrumental sort of thing, very Iron Maiden for the time. A little bit of the drum solo in here, absolutely killer track. Now this was a great return to form after that second album where they had the smooth production. This is a very underrated album. The guitar work on it is good. I think they must have seen that the sound that they had on their second album, Boulder's Brass, was not brilliant, so let's go back to doing what we're good at, just hard hitting heavy metal rock. And I did enjoy this album, and it's another album that I'm on the hunt for. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8.3. So there we go, first album ranking of 2024, and a little obscure band, so it keeps in with the name of the channel. Go and check them out, they are on YouTube. Okay, I'll be back shortly and for a classic album, and during the month of January we're going to do these. I found an article on can't remember which magazine I found it in, but it's classic albums that we've forgotten about. So I went through the list and I found some really good albums, and the first one we're going to look at is from the band that Little Feat and Dixie Chicken. So we'll see you for that later. Bye for now.